here's Brody Brazil.
This is a video about something that happened on Saturday night in Milwaukee following a huge Brewers win. And what we're going to do here is see this initially a few times through, then I'll give you some deeper level details on it so we can understand it better, and then we'll have a few more educated looks at the quick video clip, and then ultimately at the end, I'll give you some takeaways and final thoughts. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe it happened the way it did. I can't believe this was captured on video. I also can't believe it involves Ken Rosenthal, who I do not know on a personal level or detail. I have had some interactions with him. They've all been great. I've got no bad things to say about him. I know people that know him personally. I've never heard anything bad. But I also understand why the internet had such strong reactions to what they saw here. Brewers win. They're the first big league team of this season to clinch a postseason spot. Ken's doing the big player interview on the national broadcast on Fox. Here comes the Gatorade bath. It's about to hit. Ken gets out of the way, and that photographer took a spill, and it's really more about Ken's reaction and lack of action in helping up the photographer that people kind of took some disagreement with. They weren't sure about, wait, what just happened? And his look and his facial expression and his nod like, what are you doing? No. And then he goes right back to the job. Another weird look. Watch it up close. The turn, that stare right there. The second look. The shaking of the head. The photographer's there. Nobody's helping him. Somebody else comes onto the field to help him. And fortunately, this is not a big deal. No broken bones. Nobody tumbled, really. The photographer goes down. The photographer had their camera up to the eye, so like distraction in the moment. This was not intentional. This wasn't somebody bodying somebody else. I mean, my goodness, Ken Rosenthal is not the tallest or biggest gentleman we know, and that's not a knock. It's not a disrespect. I'm just saying, look at the circumstance that played out here. Now, let me give you some deeper level details. You saw that 4 or 5 times. This was on Saturday night. The bigger picture is this. The Brewers were down 6-1 in this game. They mounted a huge comeback. They win 9-8 via a walk-off in the 10th inning. And with the victory, again, they're the first major league team to clinch a postseason spot. The crowd's going nuts. The entertainment level is through the roof. The whole mood in Milwaukee, right? It's a lot of adrenaline going on, so a lot of people are going nuts. And the broadcast is probably feeling that to some degree. And as veteran as Ken is, he's probably in the moment too. Big interview, wants to ask the right questions. He sees the Gatorade bath coming. So there's a lot going on. Andruw Monasterio had the clutch single. He was the one being interviewed there. He was the target of the Gatorade bath. He kind of gets out of the way. So does Ken Rosenthal. Probably didn't want to get that sticky soft drink on that $1,000 or $2,000 suit, let's say. Scott Paulus is the Brewers team photographer. Now, again, you'll note when we watch this video a few more times, when a camera person has, the body of the camera up to their face and they're looking through the viewfinder with just one eye, it's really blinding peripherally. Like, you cannot see much else going on besides what's going right through your lens. And so he probably was looking at Andruw, was looking at the Gatorade bath, didn't see Ken backing up. Boom, he gets hit. He's kind of really blinded, like I said, in more than just one eye and didn't have a wide field of view. A total accident. All of this is an accident. Nobody's saying the collision was on purpose. But it's the fact that Ken couldn't take a second or two to, hey, a hand pull him up, or how about, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Even that, and then turning around and doing your job would have probably been more acceptable to the general public. And again, I'm going to give you some more personal thoughts on this. I'm just laying out the observations here. I'll give you some personal thoughts in the end. But again, all of this was the national broadcast on Fox. Now that you know this, let's watch it just a few more times and watch it all unfold. I mean, you could, that stare, and again, this all happened so quick, but that stare of like, how dare you do that to me? And maybe Ken was a little bit shocked and surprised, right? You get into these moments, who was that? Who did I just trip over? Who was right behind me? For as much as the photographer didn't realize Ken was backing up, Ken had his back to the photographer and certainly didn't realize anybody was right behind him, like right behind him right there and hunching down. So even when Ken looks behind him, he can't see anybody until he looks behind him and looks down. Look, all of this was an accident. Again, I think it's not about this happening. It's about that. It's about the look back. It's about the what are you doing? It's about the shaking the head. it's about time passing and no remorse. Okay, let's just watch it one more time. I think we've understood here exactly what happened. And if Ken could probably have this moment back again, I'm sure he would do it differently. But let me get to my ultimate takeaways here. I'm doing this coverage, this little breakdown of the video, which again, I can't believe I'm doing. I'm doing this before ever hearing any reaction from Ken. And I imagine this upcoming week, he'll be on fair and foul territory. He'll have some room and chance to speak on this. He'll probably admit some faults, some mistakes, some things he would do different. I have no doubt that's coming. But to be fair to anybody watching this right now, I don't know what Ken's reaction initially is going to be. So I'm saying this before actually hearing more from him or his side of the story. And again, I don't know him, but my interactions with him have been limited and good. I think winter meetings a couple times, spring training once or twice, talking mostly about the A's situation, a quick acknowledgement of each other. Again, not much more than that, but you can kind of sense in a first impression that somebody's a good or a decent human being. You can kind of just take that away instantly, and that's all I've ever known or heard about Ken Rosenthal. I'm not going to go deeper into that. This is not a personal video about somebody's personal or professional history. It really isn't. But I'll just say my limited interactions have been good. But all this happened so quick, and it doesn't portray any good. Now, Ken Rosenthal also has, I put this here, double earpieces in. I've been in this situation before. The broadcaster who has a role and has a task and has a job to interview the player, and it kind of doesn't matter like all this other stuff, what's going on. What matters most is I'm focused, my brain is focused, I'm reading this situation, I'm hitting my timing right on the interview. When they toss it down to us, we're ready. I'm ready with 3 or 4 questions. If the Gatorade bath hits, we're going to try and reset the interview. That's what was on Ken's mind, right? So he was very mentally consumed in this moment. And I'm not making excuses here. I'm just laying out the situation that all of that was a factor. Distracted with earpieces in, hearing something else, thinking about something else, running into somebody. It's like, whoa, I'm in the real world too. You kind of almost forget that. I do want to spell that out in defense of Ken. But again, what people saw in that clip captured from that angle where you can clearly see. Now, if this was from the other angle and you didn't see his facial expression towards the photographer, you would have thought, oh, he must be saying sorry right there. No, he was kind of giving a very mean stare to the person he just knocked down. So there is no simple change to that. What happened? There's no simple fixing that. I'm sure he can call up the photographer and apologize publicly and say what he needs to say on the internet, but like you can't change what happened there. I think my takeaway is this, and it's something I've learned in broadcasting and media production. There's always somebody watching, a camera watching, a human eyeball watching. There's always somebody watching you, like when you're on the field or when you're at a sporting event or even at a practice facility or even in the general public at a grocery store. At 9 o'clock at night on a Tuesday when nobody thinks you're going to be there, if you are kind of a public figure, you're always out there. And to think that you could ever have a moment where you knock somebody down and you realize it and you're like, you know what, just stay there. I'm not dealing with that. You cannot afford to do that. That's what I've learned. Like, even if you're upset, frustrated in the situation, somebody could have read this totally wrong, but what they're going to see is what they're going to judge it on. And that's obviously what happened to Ken. So I don't want to dig too deep in here. This was, people bumping into each other, but it was more the reaction and the takeaways. And again, we'll let Ken speak. We'll hear what he has to say. But that's my breakdown of it. And that's my main point. It's like you basically, when you're somebody of his status or anybody that's front facing for a career, you just cannot really afford to have those types of things happen. And if they do, instantly apologize, instantly have some remorse, have some humility, some humanity. I mean, again, all he had to do in that moment was just go, oh my gosh, are you good? I'm so sorry. And then go right back to the job. All of that would have fixed this issue, and I wouldn't be talking about it, and the internet wouldn't have been talking about it like they were all weekend. Let me know what you have to say in the comments section below. Please keep it respectful. That's all I ask here on the YouTube channel. Also, thumbs up down there helps me, this video, and this channel. And don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you back here next time.